you said earlier that you would summarize what you're doing for these startups as growth strategies. And
Mhm.
if we link that to your company, so obviously scaling a consulting business is a very difficult task because obviously you're very much limited by literally, well, you as a person, at least if you start off as yourself, you cannot, split yourselves in halves and work on two projects at the same
Mhm.
time. So you're limited in that sense. But so how do you grow as a consulting business essentially? What is your focus there yourself?
Yeah, that's right. So as a consulting company, you have your hourly or daily rate, and that's a limitation. That's why we not invented, but that's why we do also the investment. So we pick companies which completely fit to our portfolio, to our culture, people or entrepreneurs within these companies. They need to fit to our character, and these are our business partners. So having or making Alvicus larger and larger in the future means we will invest in more companies, which then requires more employees on our side to support these companies with the required service. And we take some portions of these companies at a certain stage. And this is basically our scalability or the way to scale our our own company. Of course, there's always risk because if you invest or starting invest money in companies which are just startups, there is no guarantee. I mean, usually what they say, 1 out of 10 becomes successful, and the other nine you have to write off. And that's something we want to avoid. And we avoid this, or at least we try to avoid this, and will manage to avoid this by having active roles within these companies. So just giving money to someone is okay, and that's also a business model. But the way we do it, we still have a little bit of control or the possibility to adjust this. And maybe to add on that, there is not only us giving money or raising money for these companies. We also have a large network of people with money. These are like individuals or investment companies, family offices. And when it comes to larger investments, then we do a collaboration together with them. So it means then we are the one with do consulting. We also somehow a little bit audit what's happening within the company, but the money itself then comes from somewhere else. So it's also a combination of that. So the source of money is not always our own money. It can also be some coming from somewhere else if the entrepreneur, the owner, doesn't want to have the one-stop shop by Alvicus. So that's totally fine. So that's not something which is this is a supportive or a collaborative approach to help them.
Hmm. In the past, whenever I heard from early stage startups that they had some sort of angel investor or just early stage investors, and most of the time they were more active than just handing them money and saying, okay, bye, see you in half a year. But they were not as active as you're describing it either. So they
Mm-hmm.
were there when needed, but they provided advice. So they were more, yeah, more on this kind of level. They were not hands on. But your approach, in contrast to that, sounds unconventional, not in a bad way. I think it's a very interesting way. But how do the startup founders that you've been talking to so far, how do they perceive it? Are they surprised about your proposal to do it like this? Or are they very open or not open at all? What's your experience?
Let's say it like this: they need such kind of service we offer. And of course, you can now go with the very high rates and they just gonna pay it. But on the other side, they some kind taking the bitter pill, and that's what we also want to avoid. Because if you have a client which is on every minute, he's like, "Does it really need to be done by you? Can we have it cheaper? Can someone else?"
Mm-hmm.
This is not going to work because then the whole relationship is poisoned. And that's why this approach is for some extremely interesting. For others, it's not going to work. That's fine. And it also depends on the stage of a company, if they just have been founded. What we usually don't do investments in just founded companies. Usually they already have a bit of a track record, means a history. They may struggle. They went to the deep desert, and so on and so forth. There are different stages or different stages, different situations or things must have happened in the past that the company fits to our approach. So I wouldn't say the other one is we are better than the other one. It's just like, I always say it's like dating. When you meet someone in business, you need to get to know each other. Then you talk about topics. You need to like each other, and then you somehow start building up this relationship. And if you believe that this relationship is prosperous for both, not only for us to have a new client, also for the startup to have the required knowledge in their company, then there is a way to find a solution with this partnership. So therefore, yes, is a different approach to do that. I haven't. Yeah, I heard it from single entrepreneurs or single consultants, which are doing this. But also a lot of entrepreneurs or CEOs told us, yeah, that's another consulting companies. Then we have to give them some shares, and then we don't get what we expect. So, yeah, of course, you need to start at a small project. Maybe the client pays for it, and if both parties are happy, then you still can give a kickback on that, what they already paid. So it's their idea. They need to take the risk somehow. We just can not eliminate or reduce the risk by being a party or being a partner for them.
I think this is a very interesting approach, and I also can see why this or how this can help startups, especially like I said in the beginning, since they are so cash constrained in the beginning, that this can actually be a very interesting arrangement to make this work.